Hi, welcome to Undead Yarn. This is episode 39. My name is Heidi, and you can find me on Ravelry as Knitty Girl and on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram as Knitty Girl 1. How are you guys doing? I wanted to start today off by giving some thank yous. I wanted to thank some people for mentioning my podcast. Lisa of Fiber Nymph, who has the 90% knitting, mentioned my podcast. Thank you so much. I'm a big fan of yours. Disa's Craftwork also mentioned my podcast. Thanks, Disa. I've been watching you since you started. I'm enjoying your podcast too. And Pink Hair Girl, who lives in South Africa. She also has a podcast as well. And she is going to be sending me a copy of her pattern booklet that she just put out since I won that from her podcast. So I'll be sure to show you guys when I get that. Oh, and I also wanted to mention a thank you to Anna from Yarn Carnival. I don't know if you remember, it's been a while, but I knit this shawl. This is called the Mizzle Shawl. And it's so beautiful. I can wear it. What? I've got on neon, so I can wear neon. This is like a neon rainbow gradient, and I think it's the Guy Fawkes colorway. Anyway, lovely yarn. I love the project and the way things turned out. She was nice enough to gift me a copy of her pattern pennon. And that's pretty cool because I was looking at that. I noticed she was teaching a class on how to knit that shawl over at the Tinsmith Wife, which is a yarn shop in Comfort, Texas. And if you have not been to that yarn shop, you need to get yourself there. They have lots of indie dyers. It's a beautiful shop, and the city of Comfort is really fun to go to. Anyway, well, maybe I'll move this around a little bit. If I get too hot, I may have to take it off. It's been really nice in Texas lately. Yesterday it was really warm. It was 80. Today we're down to 60, and I think tomorrow might even be colder. That's one thing that's weird about our weather. One thing that I like, though, when I lived in upstate New York, it basically was gray all winter, starting from about November until maybe April. You did not see the sun. It was just gray day after gray day after gray day, and I am loving the sunshine. It's wonderful. Anyway, I do have some works in progress, and I hope I may not have them all here. I thought I had gotten everything, but I'm still working on my Mirabelle, and I've been talking about that the last couple of podcasts, and that, I forgot the designer's name. I remember her Ravelry name was Woolzauber. Stephanie Peltman. I'm still working on that. I know. Lame of me. I'm still working on it. But I got distracted by a project, so I didn't finish it, but I'm almost there. So hopefully next time I will be done with that one. And what I did want to show you guys, this is something well, it's a sad story. I started it, and I had the perfect pattern, and the pattern is called, I had the perfect pattern for the yarn. I just got the yarn in the mail, and I was like, oh my god, I have to cast this on, because it's beautiful. It's like my neon bright colors, and it has sparkle. And it's by Kirby Werby, and it, yeah, see the sparklies? Ooh, it's so pretty. Anyway, I got it, and I was like, I need to cast this on right now. And I wasn't sure what to do, but I knew I wanted to participate in Diana Suburban Stitcher's Rainbow Along. I'm going to take it off now. And I wanted to knit with Kirby Werby's yarn. And so I had been watching KDLB. Kristen, she has the Yarnings podcast. I've been watching her podcast, and I used to actually watch it when she started a long time ago, and then she took a break, and she's recently come back. And she's a pattern designer, and I've always really liked her patterns. I think I own another one or two of them besides this one, but she just came out with the Harmonized Cowl, and I thought this cowl because it's kind of like a chevron, but it's also a zigzag. This would look wonderful in this. And if you look on my Instagram photos, you can see that it certainly did. It looks so beautiful. I was all the way to, let's see, there's different patterns that you knit during this, and I was all the way, I think, to the 3rd pattern, repeat, and I realized it was a Mobius. And while I like Mobius, and they can look cool, that's really not what I intended for this, and it's not what's intended in the pattern, so I ripped it out, but that's what distracted me from finishing my other project, because it's rainbow and sparkly. I had to do it. So I went back to working on my Mirabelle, but I'm still not finished. I also worked on a little bit, worked on my Quaker Yarn stretcher, and I think I showed this last week, I'm not sure. And this is in Fiber Nymph Dye Works. And the yarn is called, the colorway is called An Enclave of Yellows. It's going to look fabulous. Look at how it's knitting up. I love this boomerang, and I love the textured stitches in it. This is going to look gorgeous when I'm done. And I love it. It's going to be a beautiful shawl. And I have this in my Silver Shed Studios bag. And this is the one that I bought from Leadingman Fiber Arts because I think they exclusively carry the Poe Raven one. They don't have this one in their own shop. But it's really well made, and actually it feels really nice to the touch too. So, nice bag. And it has one of those clips on the end. I'm trying to make sure I don't forget things. There have been a lot of things that I've forgotten lately when I was podcasting, and I wish I had said them, but you know, it's kind of too late after it's done and it's uploaded, so sometimes stuff has to wait or just let it go. Anyway, I have 2 FOs. I thought I only had 1, but I actually do have 2. Here's one. This one is knit with the Senso yarn that I was talking about, and it's cotton and acrylic. And this is a baby bib that I'm going to be giving to my friend who at work who is having her first baby. I'm so happy for her. She's really been wanting to have a baby for a while, and it's finally going to happen. So I really like this. It's a cute little pattern. I know I wrote it down last time. I'm not as organized this time as I thought I was going to be. It was the... Oh, I didn't even write it down, did I? I don't think I wrote down what the name of this pattern is. I know I talked about it last time. Oh, okay, it's the Tell Them of Us Baby Bib, and it's by Melanie Smith, and that was knit using size 3 needles. I used my Addi Turbos. So this one's finished. I'm not sure if I'm going to put the tassels on it. I think the tassels would make it look really cute, but honestly, thinking about practicality of it, do you really want a tassel hanging from your baby's bib while you're feeding them? And then if you have to wash it, I can imagine that tassel just falling apart. So maybe I won't put the tassel on. I might just either leave it like this or put an extra row to make it stronger. Do an extra row of crochet on the edges. So that's one FO, and I'm going to be glad to give that to my friend. And here's my other one. A spinning FO. It's been a long time since I had a spinning FO. This is Jinx yarn that I got last year at SSK, the market. I wasn't at SSK, but I went to the market. This is, I believe it was Sunrise Sunset, and it was BFL, her BFL fiber. And I got 288 yards. You know, I'm going to see if I can pull up a paper behind it so you can see the pic. There, that looks good. That's what it more what it looks like. It's got a lot of yellows, and it has some pink and purple and red in it. And I got 288 yards. I thought it was going to end up being a fingering, but it might be a little bit, it might be more, well, I don't know, it might be more of a DK. Might be more of a DK than a fingering weight, but I got 288 yards. I don't know what I'm going to do with that one yet, but I'm glad that that one's done. Yay! I need to get more spinning done. I know that was my resolution this year, and I have been a big fail about that, but I can make that up. And let's see. The next thing I wanted to talk about, oh, I don't really have that much to talk about in the weeks in review. Obviously I got a haircut. I think you noticed, if you noticed last time I had a headband on, my hair was just not happening. It was time for a haircut. And this weekend, Anthony and I, my husband, we're gonna finally take our sewing class, first sewing class with our new machine. I hope things go a little better for him this time. If you remember the fiasco last time, he was not happy with threading the machine, but he did get a bobbin full. So this will be fun. And we're doing that on Valentine's Day. That's when they had the earliest they had available. So I'm like, okay, in the morning. I also saw 2 movies. I saw American Sniper, which was really good. I wasn't expecting. At first, I wasn't interested in seeing it, but then when I found out it's been on the news a lot lately, they're having a trial for, I guess, for the person who killed the man. So that's kind of been in the news, so I was curious about it, and it was very good. And that was a really strong person who the movie was about. He was a really strong person, and I would recommend the movie if you haven't seen it. It's really, really good. And the other one we saw yesterday, which was okay, it wasn't like the best movie, but it was fun, was Son of Seven. And we went to see it because it was a fantasy movie, and it had the guy who's from The Big Lebowski, I always forget his name, the dude. And my husband, that's his favorite movie, is The Big Lebowski, so we like to see a lot of movies that he's in. And also it has a fantasy element. It was, it looked like a good story. It was okay, but I am kind of curious to read the book, because usually when they make movies, they pick a book that's good. The movie was, like, I would say it's mediocre, but I'm guessing maybe the book is good. Let me know if anybody's read it. I looked it up, and I can't remember who the author was right now, and it was not called Son of Seven. It's called something else, but I did add it to my Goodreads queue. Oh, and I wanted to mention, I'm going to take a sip of my tea. Kai tea. I have Kai tea. Tanya Marie, I love you. I don't know if you drink tea. I think you do. Tanya Marie is from the Sampler Girl podcast, but I meant to say Talia and Marlicia from Pen Hook and Needles podcast that I am drinking Kai tea today, because they always ask what's in your cup. I was going to mention that Stacy from Brazen Stitchery, I think you might remember I've mentioned her before. I have a skein of her yarn here. I don't know if I even showed this one. I may not have, but I did buy other yarn from her. But my husband picked this one out. This is called I Am Groot. And I'm going to be using this. I don't know when, because I have so many projects I want to do, and I probably should do it now because it's almost not going to be cold that much longer, but, well, if he doesn't have them for this year, it'll be next year. I was planning to make a pair of mittens for my husband with, this is yarn from Knitting Rose that he also picked out from SSK last year, and this is one of her bison yarns. And I was going to use these two to make him a pair of mittens, but I have not gotten to that yet. Anyway, she was, I mentioned her, she was at the Yellow Rose Fiber Festival. She is going to be at Inskein Yarns this weekend doing a trunk show. And Inskein Yarns is in San Antonio. If you haven't been there, you might want to check it out. I know she has been dyeing up a storm, and I think she has some new colorways that she's going to be showing at the shop. And the owner of Inskein, I met her as well at DFW Fiber Fest, and she was a lot of fun. So if you are in the area, I would recommend going to check out the trunk show at Inskein Yarns. I also wanted to go into my enabling. I forgot to mention this one, I think, because I had a lot. I don't have a lot of enabling this week, but this one is from the past. I forgot to mention this one, and I think I put it off because I already had a lot on another episode. Anyway, this is Fiber Nymph Dye Works Reese's Pieces, and this is one of my favorite colorways of hers. I was going to get the sock yarn, self-striping, but I missed it when it was in the shop, so the fiber was still in the shop, so I decided to get this. And this one is, let's see, it's BFL. Yeah, Blueface Leicester. And when she sent this along too. So I have a little skein of her yarn. I'm not sure if this must be like the, this must be one of the, what do you call them? The tonal yarns that she dyes. It's a pretty pink color. So she sent a little sample along too. That was kind of nice. And the other thing that I have for enabling is I'm in a sock yarn club. I haven't been in a sock yarn club for a while because I don't always enjoy the colorways that I get because you can't pick them. Sometimes you can. Some yarn clubs let you pick what colors you're going to get. But I joined Juliana Fiber Arts sock club because she was doing a gray and neon gradient, or not gradient, self-striping yarn. And this is not really my colors, but the yarn is beautiful. I guess I wasn't expecting this for neon because to me, you guys know me and neon. Look at what I have on right now. So I wasn't really expecting this as part of a neon. I knew there was going to be gray in it, which I thought would offset the neon colors very well. But the only neon in this really is the turquoise. And these are really not my colors because I'm not a jewel tone person. But the yarn feels so nice. And Juliana, I watched your podcast today, and I love the second colorway. I can't wait to get it. So this one, maybe it's kind of... I'm going to check and see if Anthony wants some socks, because this has a lot of yardage. This says it has 420 yards, and it feels really squishy. So maybe it will be a pair of socks for my husband. Or it also could make a really fun shawl, because these colors are more muted than what I normally dye. So this would probably be something that I could wear with a lot of things if I had it, up against my skin. Anyway, thank you for the yarn, and I'm looking forward to the second shipment. So that's all I have for enabling, which makes me happy because you guys know me. I'm terrible about that, and I really am trying not to be because I'm trying to declutter. We have a lot of stuff. It's funny when you first move into a house, and I can't believe we've been in this house for 15 years. When you first move into a house, I don't know about you guys, but we really didn't have a lot of stuff because we moved from an apartment, which was like 900 square feet, to a house, which is a lot more. So we really didn't have a lot when we moved in, and we thought, we'll always have space. But it's been 15 years, and I feel like every nook and cranny of this house is full, and we need to go through it and declutter. So in the future, you guys may see some destashing from me. And I think I've already messaged somebody asking if they want me to send them some yarn because I need to get rid of some stuff. Anyway, that's up and coming. I'm planning to go through, I have a yarn stash upstairs and a yarn stash downstairs, and I'm planning to go through all of it in the next couple of months and get rid of what I don't need or give to charity. I have to figure out how I'm going to do that, but anyway, that is definitely something that's coming up in the future. I wanted to talk a little bit about what I've been watching. I haven't been watching a whole lot. We started watching Blacklist. I'm glad I got my husband on board to watch it, and I really like it. I love suspense, and I love I'm not really a mystery person, but I like crime shows, true crime, and shows like that. Like what I normally like to watch every week is NCIS and NCIS. I used to watch NCIS Los Angeles, and now that it's on a different day, I keep forgetting to watch it. But I also like NCIS New Orleans. I love both of them, and I really like watching NCIS New Orleans because my family's from Louisiana, so they do throw in a lot of information about the area in that, so I kind of like that. So Blacklist is another one along those lines. And I also watched a really, I don't know if it's good, it wasn't good, it was like kind of campy, but kind of interesting, and it had beautiful scenery. I watched this silly horror movie called Killer Mermaid. And she was like a siren. Only men would be wooed by her, and actually women couldn't even hear her mating call, or whatever you want to call it. But she would change into this really creepy looking fish thing and like eat people. I don't know if I recommend watching it, but I did watch it. I like to watch horror movies. Sometimes when I'm busy sitting in here rescanning yarn, usually self-striping takes me quite a while to reskein, because I don't have any really expensive tools like a mill or a Crazy Monkey skein winder. I just have my warping board and my, I've shown you before, I have the hand skein winder thing, so it takes me a long time to get that done. So sometimes I watch a silly movie or whatever if I'm not watching podcasts. And by the way, guys, I watch a lot of podcasts. I love podcasts. That's the whole reason I got into podcasts. I think I've told you guys before, I wanted to start podcasting a long time ago, but I just didn't have the courage to go ahead and do it. And when I started dyeing yarn, I was like, you might as well just do a podcast. So kind of got me to go ahead and do it, but I still watch a ton of them, and I love now that there's so many to choose from. I also have been reading, and I'm still reading Sword of Shannara. Thank you, Talia and Marlicia, for recommending that. I love it. And I do know that Elspeth from FO and Dye has said that she actually really likes the series, because I think on her last show she said that she read Terry Brooks with her mom before her mom passed away, and when she was little her mom used to read it to her, so that was her introduction to fantasy. So I'm gonna have to look up the series you mentioned too, Elspeth. I have not heard of it. This my brother used to read Terry Brooks and read science fiction when I was a kid, but I never read it. I've only started reading fantasy as an adult, so I'm curious to look into more books in that genre. And I'm also listening to Herland with Craftlit podcast. I pretty much listen to whatever Craftlit is doing. There's only been like one or two exceptions. I didn't listen to Flatland because I didn't get it. But I usually listen to hers because that was my major in college, my original major when I was an undergraduate. I wanted to be an English teacher, so I have always loved reading books. I've always loved talking about books, and I love listening to the podcast because it makes me feel like I'm back in English class. And I think I've talked about that a little bit before. I also have some books that, if you follow me on Bookreads, you can see that there are books that I read that I don't necessarily talk about on the podcast because, okay, confession. I'm a sucker for inexpensive books, and they have this one place in Austin where you can get $1 audiobooks, and I still have a tape player in my car, believe it or not. So there's so much for me to choose from. At first there wasn't, it was just limited, but now that the library is getting more, they're getting more discs instead of tapes. You know, they're kind of doing away with their tapes. They send their used stuff to this bookstore, and so I've been getting a lot of $1 books to listen to in my car. And at first they didn't have a lot to pick from, so I picked what authors I had heard of. Like, some of them were Nora Roberts and, like, I don't remember, one of those cheesy romance authors. They're not things I normally listen to, but when I'm in the car, I like to listen to audiobooks. I don't really listen to music that much anymore, just off and on. So I used to listen to those. So every once in a while, I'll have a book like that. And right now, I'm listening to. I bought this like fantasy series. It was like $3, and it has 3 different books on it. And one of them, 2 of them are by the same author, and I've heard of her. And then there's another one that is by a different fantasy author. And this one is just cracking me up. I can't remember the name. I think it's called Witchlight. And the narrator is awful. You can imagine, because some of these are older because they're on tape. They're not on CD. So anyway, there are some books that I listen to that are on my Goodreads that I don't necessarily talk about on the podcast because, it's not like I went out and picked it. I just kind of got it because it was there and it was cheap. And I listened to it, and then it either goes in the garbage bin or to Goodwill. So anyway, I do read fluff too. Not that what I'm reading is like always literature, but I like everything pretty much, unless I just can't stand the way the story's written. I've had some books where I started reading them and they were so poorly written. I was just like, if you're that bad that like I can't stand reading you, I'm not going to read you. Oh, and I wanted to mention that the Shawl Along has started. Right now, there's only 1 FO in there, so you guys have a good chance. And I don't mind double dipping if you're doing it for other podcasts. I know that there are other podcasts that are doing Shawl Alongs or that are doing other knit alongs. If you have a finished shawl, go ahead and post it in the finished object thread. And I am looking for finished objects, not for works in progress. But the good thing about that is you have 3 months. You have February, March, and April to get it done. So I'm going through my stuff. Like I said, I'm culling my stash, and I will find some things from my stash. I have a good stash, guys, so I have some good stuff in there for prizes. And I'm going to also throw some books in there and probably a pattern, give away a pattern. And I also have been contacted by, I believe her name is Knit Pearl Girl on Ravelry and on Instagram. And she has the Sew For You, EWE, Etsy shop. And she is going to be giving away a bag for our knit along. And she is said that the person who wins is going to be able to pick whatever they want from her shop. So you guys will have a wide variety to choose from. And also, she has offered our listeners a coupon code for right now. And the coupon code is Undead. And from what I understand, let me know if I'm wrong, it's Undead all in lowercase letters. And this is going to be for 10% off in her shop for a bag until March 6th. So this coupon code is good until March 6th. I also wanted to mention there's still the Undead Yarn FO thread. If you finish knitting something in Undead Yarn, you can post it in that thread. And each month, when there are entries, I will give away a $7 or less pattern to the person who posts in the thread. Last month, we didn't have anybody. Before that, there was 1 person. But before that, we have had a couple of people. So I do a random number generator to pull for a person to win the pattern. And everybody who posts a finished object in that thread automatically gets 25% off in my shop. So go ahead and post away if you are knitting with my yarn. Oh, and you must be a member of the group, so make sure you join the group. But that's easy. You just click on join the group. I also have a thread for knit alongs and crochet alongs, and I was planning to keep that up. If you guys have a podcast, or if you're a podcaster, or if you watch a certain podcast that you love and they're having a knit along, go ahead and you can post it in that thread. I'm opening that up. I think it'd be great if we could promote each other and also give each other a chance to double and triple dip, because you put all that work into that project. Why not put it in as many knit alongs as you can? And I'm happy for you guys to double and triple dip in my knit alongs too. That's fine. I have no problems with that. I also wanted to say that I have my Lovesick colorway, which is right here. I know I talked about this last time. This colorway is available until the weekend. It'll be good until the 4th not the 4th, the 14th. It's good until Valentine's Day. It's hard to see on this one. This is not coming out right. It's a red and a purple and a pink. And you could probably see it better if I turn that away. That's a little better. Red, a purple, and a pink. And it's a self-striping yarn. And then my leprechaun colorway, which is also up in the shop, is up until the end of March. And after that, I'm probably going to be having a sale, but not until the end of March, guys. Oh, and I forgot, I wanted to mention that next month I'm going to be going to the DFW Fiber Fest. I'm not vending this time. I am taking 2 classes, and I think I've mentioned this before, but I haven't mentioned that I'm also going to be going to SSK this year, which is in July, and it's a knitting retreat run by the Knit Girls. So I'm looking forward to that. This will be my first time attending it. Last year, my husband and I drove up and we did a little trip. We stopped in a couple of places and made it a vacation, like a week-long vacation, driving there and back. And we stopped to the market, and I got to meet some people there, so that was nice. I had wanted to go Into the Wool, but I don't have that much. I'm not rolling in the money, so I probably can do like one knitting retreat or one away thing a year where I have to pay for a place to stay and a place to, and driving and things like that. I probably can't do more than one of those per year, so I probably, next year, I'm not sure. I'm either thinking about Into the Wool or maybe going to Maryland Sheep and Wool. My husband hasn't been to Washington, D.C., so maybe I could talk him into going to that. I don't think he would go to Into the Wool, but I would probably have to go by myself or find a roommate or something. But I'm hoping to do that next year, because I met Caffeinated Gert and Crafty Alley last year when I went to SSK at the market, and they were very nice. And it just seems like that's a really nice group of people. So I'm thinking that next year or Maryland Sheep and Wool. I don't think I could do both, but we'll see. That's kind of my plan for next year. And I might be going to something in the fall, but I'm not for sure yet. I just know that these are the 2 events that I'm going to be going to for sure. So if you are in the area for DFW Fiberfest, or you are going to SSK, please come and say hello when you're there, if you see me. And with that, I think I've said everything I meant to say today. Don't forget, knit along with shawls in the next 3 months. And make sure you post your finished objects in the thread. And I will talk to you guys soon. And with that, I want you to get busy knitting or get busy dyeing.